Hey everyone! Today we are diving into something huge, one of the most critical conversations in technology right now. How to wield the incredible power of artificial intelligence responsibly. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the amazing promise of AI, and then we'll get real about some of the perils. From there, we'll dive into the super tricky but super important topics of bias and fairness, and we'll wrap it all up with a practical guide on how you can be a responsible user. All right, first up, let's get a handle on why this is such a massive deal. We're talking about the sheer scale and power that AI brings to the table and how it's already completely changing the way we work. And get this, a staggering 90% of companies around the world are already using AI or are figuring out how to. I mean, think about that. This isn't some far-off science fiction thing anymore. It is here right now, and it's reshaping everything. And just to see what that impact looks like, Gartner is predicting that by 2030, AI is going to take care of 80% of all the manual grunt work in project management. Now, this isn't about replacing people. It's about freeing us humans up to do what we do best, the strategic, the creative, the big picture stuff. Okay, but with all that incredible power, you know there's a flip side, right? There are some serious risks that come with it. So let's look at the challenges we absolutely have to tackle to make sure we're doing this the right way. And that really leads us to the big question, doesn't it? What actually happens when we start to lean on these incredibly powerful systems a little too much? What are the dangers that are kind of hiding just under the surface? And the challenges? Well, they're not small. You've got the techie stuff, like bad data quality and something called model drift. That's basically when the AI's predictions get stale because the real world has moved on. But then you have the human side of things, like people not trusting the tech, and this fascinating cognitive trap called automation bias, where we start to believe the machine just a little too much. You know, it really all begins with the data. There's this old saying in computer science, garbage in, garbage out. And wow, has it never been more true than it is with AI? If the data you train your system on is biased or just plain wrong, then guess what? The answers it gives you will be too. So this over-reliance, it actually has a name, automation bias. It's our brain's tendency to just trust the machine, even when our own gut is screaming that something is off. Think about it. It's like when your GPS tells you to turn down a street that is very clearly blocked off. That split second where you hesitate and think, well, maybe the GPS knows something I don't? That's automation bias. It's a really powerful mental trap we have to actively fight against. Okay, so let's dig even deeper now into what is maybe one of the thorniest but most important ethical challenges we face, the hidden risks of bias and fairness that are baked right into the code. So what is algorithmic bias? It's basically when an AI system starts to mirror, and sometimes even amplify, the biases that already exist in our world. That example of a hiring AI is perfect. If it's trained on decades of data where most leaders were men, guess who it's going to start recommending for the next promotion? It's not being evil, it's just reflecting a flawed reality. And that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. And this is so crucial. We have to avoid what some experts in the field call neutrality theater. This is the super dangerous and false idea that because AI is all about math and code, it must be objective. It's not. Bias can be hiding deep inside the data and even in the algorithms themselves. So what do we do about it? Well, here's a really interesting idea. Instead of pretending we can just magically erase all bias, which might be impossible, what if we tried something called declared bias? It means being totally upfront about the AI's perspective and its built-in limits. It's about setting clear, stable guardrails instead of pretending you've created some kind of perfectly neutral, all-knowing oracle. It's about transparency. And all of this really leads to the single most important part of the solution here, keeping people in charge. We have to keep human judgment right at the center of this whole process. Look, if you remember just one thing from all of this, please let it be this. AI is a tool to assist us, not to replace us. Our experience, our intuition, our moral compass, these are things an AI simply cannot replicate. They're irreplaceable, and they're our job. Now, a really smart way to put this into practice is with a strategy called progressive automation. Think of it like a staircase. You start on the bottom step, automating the low-risk, simple stuff, like summarizing your meetings. Then you move up to assistive features, where the AI gives you suggestions. But for the big stuff, the high-risk, high-impact decisions, like changing a budget, you always require a human to make the final call. Okay, so this all sounds good in theory, right? But how do you actually make it happen?
Let's get practical and look at a real guide for becoming a responsible AI user.
All right, here are some key best practices. First, don't try to boil the ocean. Start small with a pilot project and then scale up. Make sure your data is clean and governed well. That's just table stakes. And this one is huge. Use models that can actually explain their reasoning. There's a whole field called explainable AI or XAI that's all about cracking open that black box. Oh, and of course, cybersecurity has to be baked in from day one.
And on top of that, you need rock-solid governance. You have to be transparent with your users. Let them know when an AI is involved. Practice data minimization. I love that term. It just means don't be a data hoarder. Only collect what you absolutely need. And you have to keep strict audit trails so you can always go back and see what the AI did and why. It all comes down to one word: accountability.
So let's end with this thought. AI is here, it's reshaping our world, and it offers incredible potential. The question is no longer if we're going to use it, but how. How will we, all of us, make sure it's used fairly, ethically, and for the good of everyone? Are you ready to be a part of that solution?